Hello and welcome to the United Stand, Manchester United versus Wigan Athletic FA Cup preview. You're very welcome, get commenting, give us your thoughts. But first of all, Jose Mourinho has made a massive Anthony Martial promise, a big one, the one we want to hear. Been a little bit critical the last couple of days, but I don't care. It's passionate about the players that really matter to us as Manchester United fans. And I don't want to see this player leaving Manchester United. So it is music to the ears to hear what Jose Mourinho has to say about Anthony Martial. And essentially what he's come out and said is this, that Anthony Martial will start the game against Wigan on Sunday afternoon, and if he plays well in that game, he will start the game in the Premier League against Hull on Wednesday. So a cherry on the top of the cake, really. I think we're right to worry about Anthony Martial. I was speaking to a lot of people on Twitter, on Facebook, last night on the watch-along about this, and I think the vast majority of fans are concerned about the Anthony Martial situation. And if it's going down the same path as Henrik Mkhitaryan, fine, we'll reap the benefits. But I'm not a big fan of publicly berating any player. Even if it was Fellaini, who I've not got a lot of time for, I don't want to see Manchester United players being slammed in the public by our manager, because it just gives the press the opportunity to do what they crave, and that is dig Manchester United out, dig out Jose Mourinho, and dig out our players. And he's a young lad at the end of the day. I don't want to see it happening with Luke Shaw. I don't want to see it happening with people like Chris Smalling either. I don't want to see it happening. If it reaps the benefits, we could have reaped the benefits without going public anyway, so I don't want to see it happening. But you know what? I think we're happy tonight. We're happy tonight because I think all we really wanted was Anthony Martial in the team. And I'll just throw this to you now, as I did to our Twitter followers today. If Manchester United played De Gea in goal, Valencia, Jones, Bailly, Shaw, Carrick, Herrera, Pogba midfield, Mkhitaryan on the right, Martial on the left and Zlatan up front, I think we'd beat any team if we wanted to. I think that's the best team we've got at the moment. A few people moaned about Phil Jones because they're saying, what you on about Phil Jones? I think Phil Jones is better than Smalling, and I think he's better than Rojo. I'm not condoning the use of Phil Jones to try and win a Premier League title. I'm using Phil Jones between now and the end of the summer, and if I was manager, I'd actually be spending £40 million on a defender right now in the last week of this transfer window, because I think the game last night yet again showed, if you can remember, there was a couple of crosses came in the box where Phil Jones got beaten in the air. We're not very good in the air. We need a Vidic type centre back. I've been saying it for months now, and I think some of you have agreed, and some of you are coming around that way of thinking. But somebody messaged me today and said, well, we don't need a centre back. Let's sign a centre midfield. We need a centre back. Our corners are embarrassing. We are embarrassing at corners, but more importantly, we are giving away headers in our box because we haven't got a dominant centre back. But for now, well, it doesn't look like we're going to get one anyway. So I'd be happy to just put up with Phil Jones for the moment. But we're talking about Wigan. I'm very happy Anthony Martial's playing. I'm a big fan of Anthony Martial. I haven't forgot what he did last year. I think he is suffering from second season syndrome. I think he was put out by the fact that he had such a good season at Manchester United. The number 9 shirt was taken off him for Zlatan. But it's a new manager. I can understand him being fed up, but he was a new manager, and you've got to start again in a sense. And I think maybe as a young lad he thought, well, look what I did last year, and a lot of us fans remember what he did last year. But hopefully he can dig in now. And the great thing as well is Anthony Martial's come out and said he's loving playing for Manchester United and he wants to succeed. I think there's been some unfair comments come out. I just want to very quickly say, I think Gary Neville said, and a couple of other people said, he doesn't look interested half the time. When he looks interested, he's good, but when he doesn't look interested, he's bad. I don't buy into that. You can't judge people on their personality. I don't think it's anything to do with interest. I mean, there was all, when he was playing well, everyone says the Martial death stare. He scored some fantastic goals and he doesn't look particularly happy. It's just his personality. I think he's quite a withdrawn sort of character. I think it's unfair just because he plays bad to dig him out because of the way he looks. Because he looks the same when he scores goals. He's got like a cold look on him, and I think that's not arrogance. I think he's probably quite an introverted, shy sort of player a bit, and I don't think he should be dug out for that either. He's a great player and I'm sure he's going to prove it. He's playing on Sunday, so that's fantastic. It's a real positive. I would add on to that I would absolutely love to see Luke Shaw play, Bastian Schweinsteiger play, Fosu-Mensah play. So my lineup for this game would be very simple. It would be I'd play, obviously we know Romero's going to play in goal. I'd play Romero in goal obviously because he's going to play in goal. I think Valencia, will he play at right back or not? Does he need to play at the right back? I would probably play Fosu-Mensah at right back just to give him some game time. My centre backs, I'd play Chris Smalling because I think he needs the games. If Bailly's back, I'd play Bailly. If not, I would play Twansibi. I definitely would put Twansibi on the bench. Left back's got to be Luke Shaw. Your midfield three is quite important. I'd like to see Fosu-Mensah playing as the anchor man, but I think he might have to play at right back, because I think what we probably should do with our midfield three is Schweinsteiger as the anchor man midfielder. I would be playing Herrera and I would be playing Rooney in the midfield three. I'd play Mata on the right, Martial on the left, and I would play Rashford up front. I don't need Zlatan to play. I don't need Mkhitaryan to play because I keep him back for Hull. But I'll be happy with a midfield of Rooney, Herrera and Schweinsteiger, because I think Rooney and Schweinsteiger seem to have a good link up from what I remember from last season, and they get on quite well, and it's a bit of leadership in the team. Then you've got Martial, you've got Mata on the right, Rashford up front, Fosu-Mensah at right back, Luke Shaw at left back, and I would play Tuanzebe and Smalling unless you're going to play Bailly. And I think that sort of team would work really, really well. Adrian Smith said would be happy to see Jose grab players by the scruff of the neck and give them a slap to make us win. Start Rooney and play Rashford up front with Ibra, says Martin Stock. I don't want to see Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I don't know what you lot think. I don't want to see Zlatan Ibrahimovic playing at the weekend. There is no point. We've got an important game against Hull City on the Wednesday night in the Premier League that we need to win. There is no point. And I think there's a very good point that Manchester United, we've got a massive squad. We're aware of Deadwood and we have got a massive squad. There's no need for us to keep playing a strong team week in, week out. I think the team looks a bit jaded at the moment, and I think it needs the squad players to be used a little bit more and given a chance a little bit more. And I think Sunday, I'm more excited about Sunday than I was last night, because I'm expecting us to see some of those fringe players given an opportunity. Schweinsteiger's got to start, Luke Shaw's got to start, Martial is starting, and Fosu-Mensah's got to start. And if those four players start and we get Rashford up front as well, I think it'll be a very exciting game to watch. In relation to Wigan, one of Manchester United's most important figures in the last few years is coming back with Wigan. Not a player, he's the manager, Warren Joyce, who works miracles with the reserves and the youth setup. Fantastic man, done brilliant things for Manchester United. Very, very welcome back. The FA Cup's been quite funny recently, hasn't it? We've had Jaap Stam returning with Reading. We've now got Warren Joyce returning. Two very big figures in Manchester United's recent and past history. Very welcome back. And I think they've won they are fourth from bottom, but they have won their last three in a row. So this might lean Mourinho to playing a bit of a stronger team, but I hope he doesn't. Let's trust and use some of these players. As I said last night on the watch along, I cannot for the life of me, if Schweinsteiger's worked his way back in from playing with the kids, pardon the pun, he's obviously he's doing something right, and he's playing well to work his way back from playing with the kids to be training with the first team over the last 4 months. If Schweinsteiger's playing anywhere near decent, this is Bastian Schweinsteiger. He's only in his early 30s. The only issue with him is his injury record. In footballing sense, nothing's changed. One of the best midfielders of the last 2 decades. If he's training with us in our team and in our training squad with our first team, there is no. But I'll argue this to the end of the earth. There is no way he's not a better midfielder than Herrera and Fellaini. So it baffles me why we're not playing him. And I think it probably does come down to, well, we see it in the press every day. I can sort of understand it with Mourinho. I think if he played Schweinsteiger like last night and he'd ran the midfield like he's capable of doing, and we win the game 3 or 4-0, the press aren't going to see the positive. They're going to jump on Mourinho and go, ha, look at you. You've not been using this player for 6 months and now you've used him. What an idiot, you got it wrong. I mean, Toure and Pep, they have the same thing, but the press love Pep, so they spin it a different way. And I think Mourinho, he has got an ego, and an ego is very important. There's nothing wrong with having an ego, but I think he's a bit concerned about the Schweinsteiger thing. He probably wants to move him off, but I'd love to see Schweinsteiger starting a game. Do I think he will? No. I think he'll get a 10-minute cameo where it's like it can't really be that impactful, and the demand for him to play in normal games won't start. But I mean, I do want to sort of bring in. I want to say one more thing about Wigan as well. Michael Carrick, I want to talk about, but Wigan. Nick Powell plays for Wigan. He went from Manchester United to Wigan. Very unlikely that he'll play on Sunday. And even though it's his current club and his previous club, I doubt he'll watch the game. He'll probably be at home playing Arsenal career mode on his FIFA. The brains of a skeleton that's been dead 100 years, that lad. But yeah, I doubt he'll play anyway. But I just wanted to bring that in. Michael Carrick, I want to bring that in relation to the live subscriber count is above there. If you want to click and subscribe, please do. But Michael Carrick's been getting a lot of stick today. It makes me laugh. And I've even had people contacting me saying the no Carrick, no party myth is over now. I'm concerned about Michael Carrick. He is 35. At some point, it is over. But it's not over yet. I watched the game yesterday on the watch along, as many of you did, and I wouldn't single Michael Carrick out as having a bad game. I think I give him a 7 out of 10. He's never. I don't understand, because we lose a game, Michael Carrick has a bad game, but when we win a game, people say, "Oh, no Carrick, no party." I mean, Michael Carrick's not there to run past 5 players and put it in the top corner. Michael Carrick's there to conduct the midfield. He's not there. If players around him don't play well, he's not going to single-handedly win us a game of football. There's nothing different to Michael Carrick last night to what Michael Carrick's been like when he was playing in December and we were winning games. It's the players around him. I think Pogba's gone into a bit of a rut. I think Herrera's not been his usual self. Rashford's not a left winger. Lingard is Lingard, and Zlatan needs the service. And I think that was the problem yesterday. My only concern about Michael Carrick is that he's still not been signed up for another contract. And I think the only debate you can have about Michael Carrick is not he's finished, which I've read a lot of people saying today. He's not finished just because of one game against Hull where he didn't actually play that badly. The question is, do we keep him for another year, or do we cut loose in the summer and say, look, it's probably going to impact us on us a lot next season, but is it time to turn the page, get a Bakayoko in, and forget Michael Carrick and go a different way? And I'm not saying that's the wrong way of doing things, but I think he's a valuable player at Manchester United. Carrick is quality. We play as a team, we lose as a team, says Martin Stocker. It wasn't only Carrick. Carrick, says Mr. PC. Pogba did not play good enough. No, I don't think he did at all. And my back four, says AD, would be Shaw, Twansibi, Bay and Valencia. I don't know whether Eric Bay is going to be fit enough to play in this game. I know he probably is back now because Ivory Coast have been out for a couple of days. But I think realistically we should be beating Wigan on home on Sunday, and it's an opportunity for the fringe players, and I hope he plays them. And then on Wednesday night, 3 big points, considering that Liverpool play Chelsea in the Premier League. We've got to beat Hull and start. We've got a good run of games between now and April, and we need to win all those games. So Sunday is perfect. I'm really excited about it. I know a lot of people maybe aren't, but I said last night before the Hull game, I'm more excited about this game because I want to see some of our fringe players getting the opportunity to push for the first team. Because I don't know what you lot think, but Luke Shaw, if people are saying what's our best 11, my best 11 for Manchester United doesn't include players that have really been playing that well this year. But Luke Shaw's in it, Anthony Martial is in it, and obviously that Carrick, Herrera, Pogba. I think that is the best midfield 3 we've got. Zlatan, Mkhitaryan, Bailly obviously as a centre-back, Luke Shaw left-back, Valencia right-back, De Gea in goal. I think the only weakness in that 11 is who you play with Bailly, whether it's Rojo, Jones or Smalling. I'm not convinced by those 3 at all. I think we desperately need to sign a centre-back, but maybe he can't get the centre-back he needs in the summer. But Mark, do you think Smalling is good enough to win the title? Also, which players do you think is good enough to win the title? Says Shaka Phillips. Well, I don't think that Chris Smalling's playing particularly well at the moment, but he played very well last year. But as I've always said, when you're being protected by 2 defensive midfielders, which is what Louis van Gaal's style was, it will make your centre-backs look very good because they're being doubly protected. I like a centre-back like a Vidic and a Rio who will just go 2 for 2 and deal with their centre-back on their own without any support. That's proper defending. Michael Carrick offers a lot of support. People have been saying that Jones and Rojo have played really well. I think they've done quite well, but I think they've been protected by Michael Carrick, who is a centre-back's dream because his positional sense is brilliant. But we'll beat Wigan. Let's talk about Wigan. We'll beat Wigan. I think we could end up beating them by 3 or 4-0. I'd be happy with a couple of goals. Wigan under Warren Joyce, like I said, are much improved, but they've got a midweek game as well. I'm sure Wigan have got no aspirations of winning the FA Cup, and they would probably rather have the 3 points in midweek than progress in the FA Cup. I think for ourselves, we can be greedy. We're Manchester United. We don't need to make a choice. We'll beat Wigan and we'll beat Hull, and that's what we expect. But if you're asking me what's more important, FA Cup or 3 points, I suppose that is the old adage we were talking about on the watch-along last night. Somebody said 5th place, an FA Cup and a League Cup is a brilliant season for us, and I said I think it's a failure. This season has to be better, because all that does is put you in the Europa League with a couple of trophies. I can understand people might like it, but I don't. I don't want any. I would sacrifice any cup this year to be 4th. And that sounds really defeatist, and it is, but I think you've got to remember where Manchester United have come from. We're not Manchester United of 4 or 5 years ago under Sir Alex Ferguson going for titles. We've not had a title race since the last time we won the title. The highest we finished in the last 3 years we failed to get in the Champions League twice and finished, was it third or fourth? So we're arrogant if we think, oh, fourth place is below us. We're making forward steps. And I think we should strive for a lot better and want better, and we should want to be first. But we've got to make them steps first. And to be honest, I would take fourth place right now and end the season, because it gets us in the Champions League. And that's where Manchester United need to be to acquire the players we need to buy next summer. And I'm not talking 5 or 6 players, I'm talking 2 or 3, a centre-back, a centre midfielder and Griezmann. And then we go into next season and I think we win the league. And they're the steps we need to take. So the League Cup and the FA Cup would be nice, but I wouldn't sacrifice them for top 4. No way in a million years. Mr. PC again, top 4, Europa League, League Cup, FA Cup. That's what he wants. Well, we could do. I'd be happy with that. I think we've got a really exciting next few weeks to come up. Obviously, we're going to Wembley at the end of February. We've got Saint Etienne in the Europa League. We should win that. We've got a good run of league fixtures. But I think this is a Wigan preview, and I will reiterate it. It's so important that on Sunday we use the fringe players. You know, even people like Ashley Young, if he's going to be part of the team for the rest of the season, or the squad, because there is no point in playing Pogba, Zlatan, Herrera, Carrick, Valencia, Darmian. There's no point in playing them sort of players, because all you're doing is making them a little bit tireder, making them play 3 games in a week, because they'll play Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. That's 3 games in 6 days. It makes them become more jaded. They need to be freshened up. But also, we've got a massive amount of games coming up. We're basically going to be playing 2-3 games every week at the moment. We'll be playing Saturday, Thursday, Sunday for the next 2 months. But we've got a good run of league games, a really good run of league games. We've got a favourable Europa League tie. We've got a favourable, with all due respect to Southampton, we've got a good chance in the League Cup final. We've got Wigan on Sunday. We've got loads of games coming up. We're going to have to use the squad. And it's all right having a good squad with people like Schweinsteiger and Ashley Young and Lingard and Martial and Luke Shaw and Fosu-Mensah. But if you chuck them in and they're not ready, they're no good. Sunday is the massive opportunity to rest some of the jaded first-teamers and give those squad players that are going to be oh so important in the next 2 months a run out to see where they are at and whether they are ready to go into the first team. So his comment about Martial, if he plays well on Sunday, he'll play against Hull, is an encouraging one. But I want to see Fosu-Mensah playing from the start, because it's different playing a game from the start to coming on for the last half an hour. Obviously, players are more tired. It's a sporadic appearance. The same with Schweinsteiger. I want to see them starting, because I think they've got a massive part to play in this next run of 2 months, which will define our season. I know some people are concerned about whether we will even get top 4. They're concerned about whether we can do the League and the Europa League. There's lots of things to discuss about that. There's certainly something we're going to discuss on the Sunday night show about the youth and the way Mourinho used the youth. But at the moment, I'm feeling positive. Last night was a bit of a damp squib, but we got through and we're at Wembley. This was the game I was always looking forward to. The watch-along will start at 3 o'clock, because it's an hour before with the team news coming out. And I think that's going to probably be one of the most defining moments of Jose Mourinho's season so far, because when that team news hits, if we see Pogba and Zlatan in the starting lineup, I won't be very happy. I don't see what that does for Manchester United. 1, they shouldn't be playing 3 games in 6 days, and 2, they're jaded, they need a rest, and you need to freshen up some of the squad players, because we've been quite fortunate with injuries. Somebody said this the other day. Imagine if Herrera or Pogba get injured. What we're going to do, play Fellaini, because everything suggests that that's what we would do, because he's the midfielder who either starts games at the moment when Carrick, Herrera and Pogba don't play, or always comes on. We need Fosu-Mensah and Schweinsteiger playing on Sunday so that they can play well and force their ways, even if it's just the backup midfielder above Fellaini. But they've got to play on Sunday. And I think it's more important, not even whether you think they should be playing for Manchester United, but we need to utilise and freshen up the squad, because we've got big games coming up. And we will lose players, whether it's injuries, suspensions, we will lose players. So again, that's a reason why I think Rashford needs to play up front, because Zlatan gets injured. You can't rely on Rooney. It's got to be Rashford. On the subject of Rooney, I would play him against Wigan at the weekend. I still think he's a good squad player, but I don't know where Rooney's head was last night. He's meant to be playing on the left side. He loses his fullback, way worse than Mata lost his fullback against Stoke. Freedom of Hull, puts the cross in, they get 2-1 up. So there's a few people just not performing at all in the middle at the moment. Mark Davis says, Mark, please address this point. Fellaini would have played back better than Carrick yesterday. Well, that's your opinion, Mark. I've already spoken about Michael Carrick, and again, it's mythical nonsense being fed out by people who just don't understand football, in my opinion. The Mark Goldbridge opinion. I'm not saying this is the United Stand opinion, because the United Stand opinion is the collective. But tell me why Michael Carrick played badly yesterday, because I didn't see it. I watched the whole game. Michael Carrick, in the midfield, got the ball, passed the ball, was playing long passes, was playing short passes. He was positionally sound. Michael Carrick didn't have a bad game for me yesterday. Not at all. I think I could name you 3 or 4 players who played worse than Carrick. Paul Pogba and Herrera, coincidentally, that midfield 3. You can't carry 2 players. Against Liverpool, all 3 of them played badly. Against Stoke, we didn't play Carrick, we played Fellaini, and I thought it was a poor midfield. Last night, Pogba and Herrera didn't play well again last night. So I thought Carrick was one of our better players in a poor performance last night. Sean Goss is going to QPR. A couple of people have mentioned him. This is what we're going to talk about on Sunday night. We're going to talk about the youth, and we're going to talk about Mourinho's use of the youth, because I love Jose Mourinho, as many people know, but nobody's perfect, and I think there are issues to address with the youth. You can argue that it doesn't really matter too much at the moment because it's all about getting the results, but do you really think he's going to use the youth next season? Because I don't know, I don't see what would change, because next season we might be in a title race, and then we'll be going, you can't use the youth in a title race. But that's more of a conversation for something else. Mad Marcus about Darmian. I mean, Darmian is a player that probably doesn't about. I don't see what he offers us. He's got nothing going forward, and defensively he was shocking yesterday in his best position as a right back. He is a concern, but he wouldn't be in my first team anyway. Mark Davis has just come back actually, so I must reply. He says, I agree, Carrick is better overall. I love Carrick. I'm just saying Carrick had not much of an impact. Fellaini is terrible, I agree, but Fellaini would have at least done mediocre like Carrick yesterday. Don't really get what you're getting at, Mark, but I didn't really think Carrick played badly yesterday. I don't like Marouane Fellaini in a Manchester United shirt. I don't see what he offers. I think unless you're going to play him as a number 10, and like we did in about 3 or 4 games ago when he came on in the last 10 minutes and caused issues in the opposition's box, I don't like him anywhere near our midfield as a defensive midfielder. That's where he causes accidents, and he slows us down. He's not got a very good passing range. He's not very fast, and he makes us very slow and tedious. So yeah, I can't use Carrick and Fellaini in the same sentence. When are we playing City, Mark? Says Truly United. We'll play them probably in around May or April now. Meant to be at the end of February, but that's obviously a League Cup final now, which makes our next run of games till April even easier. But we will have a tough end to the season. It could be a ridiculous... I'm excited. I think as long as we've had a bit of a warning flag lately. Stoke 2 points dropped. Liverpool 2 points dropped. Losing last night. The unbeaten game run is gone, which I think is a good thing because it was masking bad performances because we were drawing and people were saying we're still unbeaten. You know, as I always say, 6 draws is 6 points, but lose 3 and win 3 is 9 points. So you could be unbeaten for 6 games and have less points than you would have if you got beaten 3 and won 3. So they do mask bad performances. We're in a bit of a rut at the moment. I know we laugh at Liverpool, but we are in a rut. Our last 3 games haven't been good enough. We need to step it up, and I think Wigan at home and Hull at home are an opportunity to step it up, get some confidence, score some goals, and go into this very important run. Because if we can keep the form going, and I think we will get going again, then win a lot of our games between now and April, the fixtures will get harder because you'll be in the latter stages of FA Cup and the Europa League, and our league running is tough. You know, you've got Chelsea, City, Spurs, Arsenal, all in April, May. But momentum's with you then, and if we're playing well, it's another 3 months for this team to mould as well. I think we've got a really exciting end to the season from now to the end of the season, as long as the players respond and improve on what they've been doing, because the last 2 games, really 3 games, have not been good enough, and it's pretty much down to the players. But if they get that kick up the backside and go for it, we have got an exciting season to end, and we could do anything. We could finish top 4, win the Europa League, win the League Cup, and win the FA Cup, and that would be a unique run of trophies and a positional sense in the league that I'd be quite happy with. I'm glad I was ill and couldn't go to school. I would have been bullied today, says Beck Howell. The next 3 games are surely 9 points if we play like we played in late December, says Anabav, which I would agree with. Jose Mourinho is related to Darmian, that's why he isn't being dropped, says Fazy. Why do you think Pogba and Herrera aren't performing, says Owen Holmes. It's a very good question, Owen. I don't know whether it's fatigue. I think they get played too much. Although Herrera has had a few rests, I think Pogba's played pretty much every game. He never gets rested. I'm concerned he'll play Pogba on Sunday. It's like he never rests Pogba, and I think Pogba needs a rest. He's quite an energetic player, although he looks quite languid and lazy. That's just the way he walks and runs. I think he just needs a rest. And I think it's suicide to play him Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. 6 games in 3 games in 6 days would be absolutely crazy. But there we go. Drop us a like on the video, everybody. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Get commenting below if you're not watching live, and we'll reply and get involved as per usual. Rest Carrick says play Bastian, says Candice. I would agree with that. And I'd love to see Twansibi on Sunday, says Raymond Archillo, which I would as well. And players will burn out, says James Arnold, which I think is the overarching thing I'm trying to say here. I want to see Schweinsteiger, Shaw, Martial and Fosu-Mensah playing on Sunday because I like them and I want to see them playing and forcing their way into the first team, which I think they will if they're given a start. But also, I see the jaded fatigue setting into our first 11 because they are playing too many games and they need a rest. And we've got so many games between now and the end of the season if we do well. We can't do it with that first 11 playing at midweek weekends. That can't be done. So we need the squad. He's got to utilise the squad on the Sunday and give them the freedom to play and start utilising that bigger squad because we're going to need it. We've got a massive squad and we need to use it. Running of games, watch along Sunday, 3 o'clock will be live all the way through till full time. Join us for that. Sunday night live at 8:30, obviously every week. But we will have a video up for you tomorrow, the United Ramble. Me and Robbie will be out and about tomorrow and we'll provide you with a video. Probably going to be about 10:30, 11, touching on the news from the week, transfer stuff, etc, etc. So watch out for that. Saturday viewing, pick it up at some point, and then obviously we'll be live on the watch along on Sunday. We're going to Wembley, and I think Sunday is a very pivotal game in our season. Normally Wigan at home in the FA Cup 4th round, you'd be like, oh, it's boring. I can't wait for all the following Wednesday. I think it's a massive game. I'm very excited about it. I want to utilise the squad. Set them free, Jose. We know he's playing Martial, which is positive. Play the rest of them, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'll see you all tomorrow with Robbie. Start of the weekend, fantastic, and I'll speak to you all very soon.